What's up guys, in today's video we're going to go over everything there is to know about the new map Overflow for Apex Legends Arenas. I'll be giving you my best tips for playing on this map along with what legends and loadouts I think are the most valuable in order to get consistent wins. Now let's get into the video. First, let's start off with the map layout. It essentially has two symmetrical sides with a ton of high and low ground and two blue supply bins on each side of the map. This map is great and will definitely make arenas ranked way more appealing when that mode is released in Season 10. Especially because it's fresh and everything feels very balanced in terms of the layout. The high and low ground I just mentioned is not super high ground. It's like 10 to 12 feet of high ground with these catwalks in the middle of the map, but I still consider that high ground when I'm fighting on the map. The funnels of lava that you see throughout the map aren't actually playable, so if you use a mobility legend and are up there, you will quickly see there's an out of bounds timer. So it's not really something where somebody could stay up there long, and in certain spots the lava will obviously burn you. You don't really have to worry about people going up there, taking high ground and being a pest. The most popular spots on the map I found are going to be this one room towards the center of the map. There's 3 big windows in it that you can shoot through or climb up and get into the room. And then there's 2 sets of doors that people really like to play, especially sweaty players who know how to use doors in Apex to their advantage. The second most popular spot is probably the center of the map where all of the catwalks intersect. Now obviously every round can play out different, but out of the 15 or so games I played on this map, those 2 spots seem to be where most of the fights went down. This could certainly change the more people figure out the map and we all figure out the best angles to use. As far as the 2 blue supply bins that are on the map, well, one is on the left side, the other's on the right, depending on which side you spawn on, right? And there's a huge slant that goes down to the bottom of the map where one of the supply bins is. And I did not see a lot of people play over there. And I think the main reason is because it's not towards the center and a lot of the zones didn't end up over there. And then on the other side where the other bin is, that's much more closer to the room that I mentioned, and you can get an angle from that room on that supply bin, and it just seemed like an easier route to take to get to that supply bin. As I say though, more time people play on this map, maybe people will gravitate towards the other side where the slant goes down. I would never want to be caught on that extreme low ground though. It could be really detrimental, especially if you don't have a mobility legend. Let's move on to strategies to use in order to get more wins on Overflow. First, I will cover legends, and then I'll move into loadouts and then playstyle. The best legends for this map, in my opinion, are going to be Pathfinder, Horizon, Valkyrie, Gibby, Wraith, and Bloodhound. Now, I hate saying this because I truly hate the Bloodhound meta, but if the other team has a Bloodhound, it almost makes it mandatory to have a Hound on your team. Scans are somehow 10 times more valuable in arenas, especially on this map where I feel like a lot of the fights are really close range compared to, let's say, a map like Phase Runner. A lot of fights could be more long range there. Having a scan can be a huge turning point for your team. Knowing the location of all 3 enemies is just too valuable in a 3v3 mode. The reason to play Path, Horizon, or Valk is because mobility on this map is also super valuable. As I said, there's a lot of high and low ground, and you guys can see that in this gameplay here, and being able to navigate that easier will make for a much more dynamic fight. Now, I was playing Pathfinder a lot on this map because I felt like if I had to go low ground, instead of always having to climb up, I could hit a quick grapple and reposition. If you're low ground on these catwalks, it can be terrible if someone has a good angle on you from height. Wraith and Gibby are also good legends for this map because of Wraith. Well, you have her phase, which is just valuable on any map, and Gibby is great because of the gun shield and the bubble. For those up close fights or closing the gap to your opponents, it's just super valuable. You could also run Lifeline, but I don't know, ever since they increased her hitbox, I'm not playing her a ton, but you could certainly swap Gibby out for Lifeline if you're more comfortable with Lifeline. I could definitely see Caustic or Watson being decent on this map if they got more buffs, but it would depend on the economy of how much their abilities costed. So for now, I'm avoiding them. I see no value in running Octane over any of the other mobility legends I just listed because his tactical just isn't good in arenas. If you're still watching and enjoying the video, please be sure to smash the like button to please the YouTube algorithm. Let's move on to loadouts. I want to preface this with it's all preference for the most part. If you're comfortable getting whatever weapon that you get, go for it. Don't listen to me. But this is for the players who are maybe unsure or who don't play arenas a ton and aren't familiar with the economy of what things cost and how you should budget yourself. If you're comfortable in round 1 spending all your money on a wingman, then go for it. But for me, as soon as I crack you, I know you are only going to have 2 shield cells, especially since I cut you off from getting those batteries in the supply bin. And then it's going to be a GG for you. Don't underestimate buying a basic simple gun the first couple of rounds because you will have leftover money for things like shields and grenades. Both are super important in arenas. I was buying the RE45 with a shield battery and some grenades the first round. Then I would get the Mozambique or the P20 for free. And if I got a kill or two, I would get the same stuff except grab the Eva as my secondary. And from there, then I would level up to maybe a flatline or an R99 or something more heavy hitting depending on how much money I had. I really think close range guns are going to be the meta for this map because it's definitely a smaller map, and as I said, a lot of the fights did end up being fairly close range. As I'm sure a lot of you guys know, the EVA 8 is by far the best shotgun out right now, and that's because of its damage per second and its fire rate. And ironically, it's the cheapest shotgun available. The EVA is 300, while the Mastiff and PK are 400 and 500. And I'm sure a lot of people know this as well, but they did buff the P2020 when the Genesis event came out. So if you have a kitted primary weapon, settling for a free Mozambique or P2020 as a secondary is a legit move. The economy is tighter now in arenas, so plan accordingly. Let's move on to playstyle for this map. First thing I have to cover is solo or duo queuing arenas sucks. In my opinion, it's worse than the BR. So if you have teammates to play with, do it. If you're looking for teammates, you can join my Discord. Click the link below in the description. I duo queue with my friend for a lot of these games that you're watching now, and I would say 3 out of the 5 games we didn't even have a teammate at all, so we were stuck in a 3v2 the whole match, which regardless of skill set did not end up well for us. And then on the other games we would have like a level 7 as a teammate. I'm not even kidding. Keep in mind, my teammate and I are obviously level 500. The matchmaking makes 0 sense. The other reason to have teammates is communication. Now this game mode is very hard to succeed in with no comms at all. Here's why. In the BR, there's much more going on, and there's room for distraction. Whether that's multiple teams in a fight, a more map space to reposition or back up, more RNG with loot, and just overall less info on your enemy team. In arenas, you're gonna know exactly what's what. You're gonna know if it's a 3-on-3 or a 3v2. You're gonna know what armor they're on. You're gonna know that the fight is gonna go down. There's no way to really back up and not fight like there is in BR. You have less space to do all of this with because we're obviously confined to the arena's map, which is smaller, and then the zone's going to close quicker than in the BR. So knowing when an opponent is weak is critical to getting that knock. If you get that knock, the fight obviously tilts in your favor of winning that round. Knowing angles of where your opponents are is also super valuable. See, I can know where someone is with no comms if my teammate pings. But I don't know that you just hit them for 80 and they're going to heal behind that box, and then I never know I should grapple on them to get that knock. Pings don't tell the whole story, and I talk about this a lot in my ranked videos as well. On top of that, improving your communication in Apex is a fundamental skill to be a top tier player. You should also be discussing with your teammates game plans. Like for instance, 2 of us are going to go to the room and hold it, while a third goes to the supply bin right outside the room. Or whatever game plan you have developed, it's equally as important to go into the fight with some sense of what everyone is trying to accomplish. Just blindly running at your opponents isn't always going to turn out that well, especially as you move up in arenas and you're going to start going against more sweaty players who are going to have a game plan and who are going to be communicating. And lastly, guys, I have to talk to you real quick. If you've made it this far in the video, you're probably one of 2 people. 1, you're already subscribed and you watch my content fairly regularly. Or 2, you may have seen a video of mine before, but you're not subscribed. So will you do me a favor and hit that sub button, because I'm closing in on 10,000 subscribers, and if I hit that goal from doing this within less than 1 year, I will be ecstatic. And I will continue to keep making high quality Apex Legends videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next upload. Peace.